Welcome, folks. If anyone wants water or anything, there's some on the bar there, and I think we've got, by my watch and or phone, about a minute to go before we officially start. We'll just wait and see if there's any other people going to drop down the stairs. Enjoying the day so far? Yeah? Good.
I'm getting tired, bro.
Tired? Okay.
My social battery's dying.
Okay, we'll get this show on the road. All right. I reckon that's about time. Can't hear anyone thundering down the steps because the wooden steps make that easy to hear people coming, so we'll get started. Thanks very much, folks. Hopefully this is not going to be one of those sessions where you've just had your lunch, sat down and feel the pressure to stay awake. We've got a great session here, why and how I grew my firm, and we've got three great industry advocates here to help us work through that process. I'll do a very quick introduction and then they're going to introduce themselves in a lot more detail and better than I can. Charisse Russell joins us, visionary founder of HKS Russell, committed to empowering organisations to thrive, and has more than 20 years as a chartered accountant and an expert in her field and a trusted guide. Nick Bradley joins us, professional in accounting industry for 25 years, beginning as a part-time tax preparer. He is part of the PBS leadership team now, and he is highly regarded for his ability to break down complex bookkeeping, accounting and taxation matters. And Davie Mach joins us, founder of Box Advisory, accounting and financial advisory for small business tax, financial accounting, and partner of the year and firm of the year in 2023 in New South Wales, I believe, as well. So welcome to our panel today, and I hope you enjoy the session. Thanks, folks.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. So obviously today, or this afternoon's session, is why and how I grew my firm. So I've had over 10 years experience in audit, and as an auditor, you see businesses and organisations that succeed in terms of the audit and those ones that don't do so well. So I decided to, there was a gap in the market basically, and I thought, wouldn't it be awesome if someone could guide and support organisations around their systems and processes? So I kind of set up HKS Russell over 13 years ago. And that's basically what sort of led me to start the practice. So it's really to support and guide my clients. I really wanted to make an impact on organisations and individuals as well as businesses. And I think for Davie and Nick, we are sort of on a very similar purpose. And I think for most people in this room, you want to help your clients genuinely, and that's why I started my firm. Yes, the money is, the money's there, but ultimately you need to have that purpose. So that's why I grew my practice. But Davie, for you, why did you grow your practice, and I guess what led to the need, and how did you realise that you needed to grow?
Cool. I'll grab that off you.
Sorry.
Yeah. I guess I would just start off from the very start. I tried to fulfill the Asian prophecy. Asian prophecy is to be an accountant, doctor, engineer, and I wasn't really good with medical things. I always hurt myself. An engineer, no way. And I was good at maths, so I just decided to be an accountant. And I only did accounting was because my parents wanted me to have an education and then go to university. And over time, when I was younger, I realized that we weren't really financially set and we needed the money. So over time, I got a cadetship working at a small accounting firm. Mid-sized accounting firm, actually. And then over time, I realized, man, the pay as an accountant is not that great. And I think I started at $25,000 a year. And over time, it creeped up. And it grew slowly, had to get my CA and all that stuff. Then I realized that where the money is actually running your own firm. and I had a chance. My firm that I was working for, that I was gunning to be a partner, was getting bought out, and I knew that their processes were really good. They merged with a big four accounting firm. They knew what they were doing, and I just saw them grow from like a 1-2 partner firm to an 8 partner firm, and they knew what they were doing. But there were things that I wanted to do that they weren't doing, and so I thought it was a good opportunity to eventually start my own business. So I started mine at 26 years old, with 8 years, I think around 8 years accounting experience, and now it's been 17 years. It's pretty much half my life. That's the reason why I started my accounting firm. And from there, I realized that I actually hated accounting at one point, loved it, hated it, loved it. And I'm sure every one of you guys had this problem as well, where you hate it and love it. And yeah, right now I'm at that phase of my life where I'm loving it, because I get to see my clients grow, I get to see the team grow. And like, yeah, last week we had our team members win awards. And it's very fulfilling to see that, you know, the younger generation is currently like learning and wanting to be accountant because of, you know, people like us, mentors. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, Davie. And Nick, for yourself, so in terms of Nick, Davie, and myself, we do come from quite different backgrounds. So my firm's based in Cairns, so we're I guess a small community. So different market, different database, different clients. So you know, for us, and we actually hit the $1 million turnover not that long ago. So that was a huge milestone for us. And but yeah, so Nick, for you, why, and how?
The why is pretty easy. We just got rid of a very old partner. He was 75, and he was, for the last 10 years, he was causing many issues, for want of a better way to say it. He didn't know it, but we were putting out fires constantly around him. Now, we don't want to leave a legacy like that for the next generation to go through. So our why is really, we needed to grow our firm and build systems and processes and all that, so that the next generation could come up through, take us out the top. So build a succession plan, which wasn't in place before. And yeah, the how is really interesting. But yeah, the why, we want to help people. We want to help the next generation of accountants coming through, to leave them with a legacy that we didn't get, because we know how hard it was to jump in and do all the hard yards that we just couldn't do because we were stifled for sort of 10 years. So our expertise in the end was putting out fires, which isn't nice on a regular basis. It's just so stressful.
No, understandable. No, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Nick. So in terms of, I guess, different ways that I grew my own practice, so my journey started off with 3 clients, working from home. And, you know, over 13 years ago, working from home was a taboo. Like, I shared that with my family, and even my mum, she literally didn't believe that I was actually running a practice. So I embarked on and then kind of took that leap of faith and rented an office. Didn't really know if I could afford the rent, but I did it anyway because I knew I needed that separation. And then grew it to 100 clients in less than 12 months. That was networking. Just networking through my community, sharing my passion as an accountant. You know, how the fact that we actually do change lives in terms of what we do, more recently, in 2021, we actually relaunched our NDIS services. So we're actually an approved NDIS provider. Yes, we are a chartered accounting practice, and we are in the NDIS space. I decided to do that because as accountants, we're amazing at what we do when it comes to budgets, money, and imparting that knowledge onto the most vulnerable members of our community, even if it was just a little bit, so that they could understand how they can, you know, obtain certain supports. I wanted to be part of that conversation. So I sort of said to my team, I said, we're going to do the NDIS. And they're like, hang on, you're an accountant and you want to do disability. I'm like, just give me a second, I'll explain it to you. And it makes sense because for us, we can help not only family members, but providers and also the participants themselves understand what sort of supports they can get, but making the most out of the budget. So we relaunched that back in 2021. Fast forward to today, where we've got over 50 participants, and the revenue from an NDIS point of view actually represents about 30% of the firm's revenue. 2025, I'm looking at doubling that. So my team better get ready in terms of what I have planned for the next 12 months. But I think it's a fantastic space for us accountants to be in, because we are leaders in when it comes to funds, budgeting, forecasting, and we can really impart our knowledge onto those people. So for you, Davie, what ways have you grown your firm over the years?
Okay, so I'll take it back to the very start. Obviously, when you first start a business, you don't have much money. And so what I did was I kind of changed the way around. And how it works is usually you do the work for the client and you do your timesheets, and then you build a client at the end, and you wait for 30 days at the end of a month to build a client. Once you build a client, then you wait another 15 days to get the money paid. So what I said to the clients is, I don't have any money. I can't employ anyone right now. How about you pay me up front for not for the last financial year worth of work, so say 2024, pay me for 2025 right now. Pay me for the next 12 months. And also, if you want me to do 2024, I want you to pay me 2024 as well. And then they said to me, look, I'm going to take a punt on you, Davie. I know that you're going to do a good job, so we'll pay you up front anyway. And it's like, if we were going to go to another accountant, we still got to pay them anyway. It's just that we pay them at the end of the job. Rather, for me, I want them to pay me up front first. So I got that money, then I hired the people that I needed to do the work. I also, at first, paid myself a wage to do the work first. So it kind of got my clients to fund my own business. That's how I first started. And that worked really well. Picked up as many clients as it could, got them pay me up front. And that's how our engagement letters were set. And I also did monthly retainers. So I started collecting the monthly income and monthly fees for all the way to the end of 2025. And then I would still do services for him. I would do consulting services, monthly calls, and do basses for him. But when it came to the actual meaty job, I did them after the 30th of June. And that's how I first started my business. And that's how I started growing the business. And the great thing about that is I had the cash. Then after 30th of June, I started hiring the right amount of people to be able to do the work that I promised I was going to do. So that's how I first started. Then I realized that my referral partners, my family and friends, eventually that's going to dry out. And that will dry out for every one of you guys. And then what I needed to do is make sure that I fill that part of that pipeline. So I started doing a lot of marketing online. I focused on website, SEO, build articles. And this is back in 2016 when I first started doing it. Videos was not a thing. And then I knew that I needed to jump on the next thing, because I realized that a lot of accountants were spending a lot of money on marketing, and they were paying for ads, and I would never turn up on the first page sometimes. Or if I do, I'm at the bottom of the page, even though I'm the first person on the article. So what I've worked out is that I need to go somewhere that it's cheap to pay for, and I just need to brute force, use my energy to do well on that. And that was videos. So then I jumped into videos. I built a YouTube channel since 2019, and I've been doing videos. I think it's crossed over about 300 videos now, and we've got about 20,000 subscribers. We also have all Instagram, TikTok, and all that stuff like that. And we bring in terms of views, over 100,000 views a month, all across the platforms. And I realized that there is gold, because where else are you going to be able to produce that much eyeballs on your business and your brand without paying a single thing? The only thing I was paying for is just the video marketing that I was creating the videos. I didn't pay for ads. I didn't pay for anything. People just came to my channel just to watch these education videos that I created. So I created 3 types of videos: education, entertainment, so actual videos to entertain the audience, and the last thing was motivation videos. I felt like I wanted to motivate the crowd and also audience, and also just tell them a bit about me, so they knew who I was. And that's how I started the journey of growing the business. We first started with, $8,000 budget marketing, and then now it's ballooned over to $150K a year on marketing. Just in marketing, I'm talking about just videos. We still don't spend money on ads. So we don't spend a single cent on ads. Yeah, and now it brings me in, and this is not to boast. I really don't want to boast about this, but we bring in 80 to 100 leads a month, new leads. And I have a sales team that manages the sales side, brings in all the clients. I bring in all the clients, they take over the sales. And then now we have an onboarding team that just focuses on new clients, and we have an operations team that just focuses on existing clients. So that's just a bit of a breakdown of how it is. Look, it's taken 8 years to get to this where it is now, but that's just how I grew the business. And I first started with not having a single cent and borrowing the money off our clients. I made sure I did a good job. And the second thing is then I started getting that money and then focusing on putting it to, growing more clients and bringing more clients in. And with that model, I think it worked out really well. And one last thing I just want to tell you guys, the last thing I did, and I want you guys to know about this because it's kind of frowned upon as an accountant, is I actually didn't care about my profit. The first 2 to 3 years, I did not care as if I even brought in any money, net profit-wise. I cared about the turnover. I just cared about how many clients I could actually bring in and charge them fees, because I knew that eventually, if I can bring this client in, they're going to stay forever, and then I can work on the expenses, get rid of marketing maybe, get rid of team members that I might not need. I just want to make sure I do a really good job with these clients, keep them forever, and then bump up the fees maybe, or charge them more, or, reduce my expenses. And then eventually my net profit will come. So I just took all the profit, reinvested it back onto staff every single year for the next 3 years. And luckily COVID came and blew up my company. Because COVID was the catalyst for a lot of clients that didn't want to talk, couldn't find their accountant and went online to look for accountants. And that's where it blew up for my business. Sorry that took so long, but I'm so sorry.
That's okay. No, that's fantastic. What I might do though is, Nick, in terms of your firm, what are the challenges did you face growing it? So
We're a legacy business, so we're completely different to these guys here. Our challenge was self-belief to start with, valuing our services that we provide. We had to go on a personal journey, really, the directors, and it's a continual process. We were very stagnant. We were held back. I know I keep coming back to that, but we were held back a lot. So what we did was we started looking at our pricing. We used to look at last year's bill and say, oh, well, that's all we can charge, and we'd write whip-off. Ad hoc services or, scope creep, we'd just soak it up. And that caused huge problems down the track. It wasn't an issue, but, I had to then come up with a pricing model. We didn't have any of that in place after all those years. So that was my last 12-month period, was just sort of producing the pricing model, listing out all the ad hoc services, what we need to charge, processes around everything, then train the team. But a lot of my clients were on monthly fees and we didn't have a system to price them. So we were losing money. We weren't losing money as a practice, but we were leaving a lot on the table. So with the new price increases, some of my clients went up 100%. And some of them came and gave us great feedback that, yeah, we love what you do, we really value you, which was good to hear from our clients. The problem clients, that were always a problem, some of them left. So every ethical letter we get was kind of like, oh, thank golly they're gone. So the right ones stayed, the wrong ones left. But what they gave us was cash to go and then sort of source equity participants for the future. So we didn't want to, as I said before, we didn't want to leave a legacy behind that we'd been left. So we got some headhunt assignments, that equity prospects that really have paid dividends for us. So it was just about getting the org structure in place, hiring the right people, which we were horrible at, so we outsourced that. And that's just let us fly. And what we also did was we allowed our new team members to actually build the systems. So they control the productivity, they control the tracking of that productivity. And like I was saying to a couple of people, we're 60% lodgements right now. It's either done and waiting to be filed later, or it's actually lodged. So we've never been in this position before. This whole process has only been 1.5 years, 2 years. But yeah, there's been a lot of growth in that time.
keep the mic because I'm going to ask you another question. Oh, do I? Can't hear me. Okay, no worries. So yeah, valid point, Davie. Thank you. So Nick, in terms, so for those who didn't get a chance to speak, hear Davie and Nick in an earlier session, Nick sort of shared about so 20%, but also 80% of your effort and towards clients costed you. So it was 80%, and then is that, sorry.
So we did a terrible thing back in 2016. We bought a practice. It was the worst purchase in history, I think. There's probably horror stories out there, I don't know. We bought a parcel of fees that soon dropped to about 2/3 of that. The staff members weren't fantastic, so they started just dropping off year by year. And we got to a point, I think it was only in the last 12 months, 18 months now, we made the hard decision to just sell that. It was a standalone practice that the older partner had run, and during COVID he got sick, so we had to fill his shoes somehow. And what ended up happening was the 3 other directors or partners actually had to step in and solve all the problems. And it was 80% of our problems. So every day we'd come in, there was another fire to be put out. So 20% of our fees, which is what that office was, 2 of our staff members that we didn't really want anymore, they were causing us 80% of the problems, even the staff were. So we made that very tough decision, which I implore you all to do if you're in the same boat, sell it off. Now, we didn't get anything like we paid for it, but we'd do it again in a heartbeat, because the productivity gains, the stress reduction, I currently can only work 4.5 hours a day. I don't even live in the same state as my business anymore. In January, I moved to a place called Bunbury in Western Australia. Perth, there you go. So my office is in Adelaide. I just log in remotely, run the team every day. I mainly coach and mentor now. I haven't done a tax return or anything for, I'd say 12 months, but it's probably longer than that, to be honest. But the gains in getting rid of that baggage was just huge. We sold off $500,000 worth of fees, and we gained $500,000 of fees. Now, whether that was the price increases or just charging for all the ad hoc services that we'd identified and train the team on scope creep and setting up new jobs when they do something special for a client, it's just been a very big process. Be involved. Yeah. I keep blaming him, but it was the older partner. We just gave him carte blanche because we were too busy, because we were working round the clock. Like the partners, up until 2 years ago, we were doing 60, 70-hour weeks. We were just stressed off our heads. Everyone would break down in the board meetings one by one. So one meeting I'd break down. The stress was just huge. So we do lots of things differently. We'd probably hire an expert.
Add something to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want everyone to know that I think all of us, we're all saying like we want balance in our life, but I just want to mention that when you start a business or someone that's successful, I've never met anyone that's been successful having a balanced life their whole life. If you do know anyone, please let me know. Because I've never met someone like that. There is one particular point of their time where you have to work your butt off. You have to figure it all out. And then from those learnings, I know I look like an 18-year-old telling you this stuff, so it's a bit weird. But yes, I'm 34 years old. I'm a bit older. I've been in the business industry for 17 years. I realized that there's sometimes I need to work hard. And during that time, it was COVID and JobKeeper, JobSeeker. And I knew I needed to work hard because I needed to serve the clients. I knew that was an opportunity for our business to grow. So I was just like, I put my head down and work my butt off. And now it's gotten to a certain point now. I only work 40 hours a week, and you work 4.5, right? A day, 4.5. Yeah, 4.5, which is still really good. Like that's like 25 hours, a bit less than 25 hours, which is ridiculous. When I want to get to that point. I don't have kids yet. Maybe when I start having kids, then I'll probably just get lower a bit more. But my mentors always say to me, Davie, when you're young, work hard and, put in the effort, because when you get older, there are better things in life than just working. And the part where I'm struggling right now is like trying to disconnect. That's the part where I feel like I'm on the phone 24/7. Like right today, I'm just worried about my team. I just care about my team so much. I just want to make sure that they're okay. Yes, I've delegated all the work, but I still watch out for them all the time.
Absolutely. No, thank you for that, Davie. And I think that's really, really important. So, you see a successful business or an accounting practice, but you have no idea, well, you may, but, the amount of times that you're potentially under the table rocking yourself. We're here and I guess we sit here in front of you because we've done, I guess, the hard work to be able to position ourselves. So that's a really valid point. For me, I actually started my practice when I had 2 kids under the age of 5. So I think I was speaking to someone earlier, and they're like, "What made you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, that's true, exactly. I mean, it's the same thing as when is a good time to have a child. So I guess it's the same thing. It was drive, right? And I wanted to. I guess my last technical job in a public practice was a senior auditor for BDO. Hopefully, nothing against BDO. But one of the other reasons why I started my practice was they knew I wanted to be a partner or become a manager, but there was no pathway for me. So you know what? I went, watch me in 5 years, and I'll just go out on my own and I'll do it, and I did. So I guess in terms of advice, Davie and Nick, what advice would you give someone looking to grow? Do you want to kick it off, Nick?
I dropped this line before. Put your prices up. Value yourselves. Get the right people around you. It's all about the org structure, the team, and know your weaknesses, I guess. I'm a terrible manager of people. It's not until I've had the space to think and grow myself that I'm now a better leader, but I was a terrible leader before. Just value yourselves and really look at that pricing and where your place is in the market. Get the right people around you. That's made all the difference to all 4 of us in our business. It wasn't until that point that we could actually accelerate because we could trust them and empower your team as well. Get the right people and empower them. Get them to build the process. Get them to document things because they own it then. It's theirs and they're so proud. We've got a young guy, he's about 25, I think. I could be wrong. But he has never thrived until the last 12 months where we've just involved him in every decision. We've involved him, we have team huddles twice a day. We have weekly team meetings. We have all that stuff that people tell you to do, but you never do. We've just got all that in place, and he's just thriving now. He doesn't even come to me anymore. He was the guy that if I walked out of my office through his office, he just grabbed me and wanted to ask me questions and all that. So the best thing to happen to my business was me moving away because it forced them to sort of step up and grow and learn themselves rather than me being the easy option all the time.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yep.
So I think we had a session before at the very start of the morning. And the session, the main thing I got out of it, which is true to my business as well, was to have a goal, a plan in place. You don't necessarily need to write out a business plan, but I had a target and a goal. I knew what type of clients I was going for. So my client base was all micro businesses, anywhere between startup to $1 million in fees, and that's my bread and butter. I knew I was going to charge them $3,000 to $5,000, which is the pricing, and I knew that I was going to charge them on a monthly basis. So I knew my set target client as well as the number of clients I needed. So that was the plan. And then I had these 5 pillars that I also, which I mentioned, that I really want to aim for. The 5 pillars, real quickly, is, get to 1 mil. Second thing is build a marketing machine to bring leads in. Third one is to, build processes and systems in place to manage the business. The fourth one then is to become a key person of influence in the accounting industry so people know who I am and people respect me and I have a brand. So I went out for awards. I built a business that had a personality online so people knew who I am. And I also looked at all these other businesses that won awards, what they were doing and what I could do better or what I could copy. So I did that too. The last one was rinse and repeat. So I did all those 5 pillars and did that in I think it was like the 2nd or 3rd year. Then I realized that, holy crap, these 5 pillars that I've chosen to focus on, I still do to this day. And last week, our our two accountants. One was a junior accountant. Now one was a manager. When I hired her, they won awards, and I think like that's the rinse and repeat. I've helped the next generation win awards. One of them is gone out on her own. She started her own business, and I've been helping her. I've been palming all the personal tax returns over to her because I really don't want to do it. Yeah, so I feel like if you have that goal in mind, even if it changes in the next year or 2 years, like at least you know what you're going for. And that's the best tip I had for myself that I somehow decided to do. And I'm telling you this, like half of the stuff that I was doing running my business, no one's ever done before. No one ever did all these videos, and no one also did fixed fee fees as well as charging up front and then making clients pay you for the current year's financials, even though that's done next year. No one did that. And I was one of the ones that had the balls to do it, and it worked out well for us. So you sometimes just have to take the risk and try. Yeah.
Cool. Fantastic. Thanks for that, Davie. So I guess in terms of, growing our firms, so for me personally, I have an issue with, I guess, capacity. So there's a team of 6, including myself, and as we all know, finding staff at the moment, it's impossible. So for me, do I offshore? And I know both Nick and Davie do offshore, so I need to kind of pick their brains, to be honest, and work out how they've done it, because I've tried it twice, didn't work. I'm on my 3rd attempt, so I probably feel like I need to definitely have a chat with these two in more detail. So in terms of, I guess, the need to, or what advice you would give someone who's not sure that needs to grow. I want to grow because I effectively kind of want to replace myself and work on the business. So I'm a little bit different to these guys. I'm still working in the business. I still do tax returns. I still do end of financial year close processes because I haven't worked out the formula yet to kind of sack myself and replace me. So today's event and meeting Nick and Davie have absolutely given me that information. So that's I guess me in terms of I need to grow and I want to grow, but how do I actually do it? So I know with you two, you've kind of walked that path already. So I'd love to sort of get a little bit more insight in terms of, what advice would you kind of give me or anyone in this room who's not sure about, if they should grow or whether or not they've reached capacity and they're okay in terms of where they are. Because there's nothing wrong with, obviously, the more you grow, the more staff you have, the more overhead costs. And it's, in my opinion, it's okay to go, well, I'm actually happy where I am. So, what advice would you guys give that? Yeah, Nick?
Our mission, vision, values, one of them is work-life balance. So our guys don't work longer than 8 hours a day. We know we've got excess capacity right now. We didn't always, but it's been a long road to get there in a short amount of time, a long road. Offshoring, we've only just got the formula right. We've been doing it for 10 years, I reckon, and it was very hard work in the start. We'd give them certain amount of tasks and they were just so inefficient, and we just persevered for years, and every time we thought we need another body, we'd just throw another outsource at it, and we were just so inefficient. So now the team's actually got that under control, and the key to it all is treating them like they're your staff member, treating them like they're part of the team. So we've just implemented huddles. When they come online, we have a huddle with them now, which we never did before up until about a month or 2 ago. And now they're faces. I went over there to India and met them all just before COVID, actually. I got back right in time. So they are people. They are part of your team. But it does take work. It's not some magical unicorn that you just get an offshore team and they just integrate and everything's fine. It does take you to have systems and processes, you to set the expectation of what you want from them, because otherwise they've got no idea. They just sort of struggle along. Yeah. What was the other question? That was it.
That's it, yeah. Thanks, Nick. And I absolutely agree with what Nick said. So I guess my 2 failed attempts was I didn't realize the amount of, I guess, time and resources that I need to set aside to actually make it successful, and absolutely will put my hand up and say, yeah, that was absolutely my fault. And I actually thought it was just a unicorn that I could just go, yeah, you guys do it, right? So yeah, how about you, Davie?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, not even just offshore staff, like just current staff, right, as well. When you hire a junior accountant, a senior accountant, you got to actually spend time training them, building processes in place. Most, like especially bookkeepers, because I have quite a fair bit of bookkeepers that are offshore. You don't hire a bookkeeper to fix the problem. You hire a bookkeeper to just follow the process. That's what bookkeepers do. But so many times, my accounting managers think that our bookkeepers should solve problems, build a process, and all that stuff. And that's why it failed. It failed so many times. And I've been offshoring 10 plus years now. I did it in my old firm as well. And I brought over the team members that were from my old firm over to mine because they fired all of them when I left because I was the one that managed it. And so that's the context of like how much time I've focused with offshore. And when I first hired my first offshore, the person that we went through a BPO agency, the agency person said to me, I just want to let you know, if you're going to hire a offshore employee, you're going to spend twice the amount of time to train this person. Are you ready? And I said, what do you mean? At that time, I never trained anyone. So they just got me to give it a try. And I tried it. And I realized, holy crap, like they're not here 24/7. You can't see them make mistakes. They're constantly making mistakes. They don't know the accounting logic or terminology. So they just don't know what's going on. They don't even know what Division 7A is half the time. So that's where we had to like train them, focus our energy. And it's not even just that. Then you have to train your team members, your managers, to actually how to manage them. Because first, they think that these guys are the enemies. Because if we train them, they're going to just take our job. That's the first thing. Then they realize later that having them around, you can do quite good work. You know, it's funny. I had a meeting with all my managers one-on-one. Tell you guys a funny story. All of it. I asked them who's the best accountant out of our team, and her name is Donna, and Donna's offshore. And yeah, she's the best. And I've worked with Donna before, and I knew from day one that she was going to be amazing, and she is amazing. Not saying that our Sydney team isn't amazing. They're all amazing. But I knew that she was just going to be a superstar when it came to like financials, work papers, and all that stuff like that. So it takes a lot of time. And one last learning that I learned was over time when you run your own business. Sorry, I'll just wait for you to sit down just in case. Over time when you run your business, you wear multiple hats. So I wore so many hats. I was a sales guy, operations guy, accounting manager. I reviewed everything. And I was good at everything, I felt like. And I still feel like I'm the best. You know, that's what everyone thinks, right? And then over time, you realize that when you need to outsource or give the job to the next person to do, you're just like, why is this guy doing the work? I'm paying them half my salary and I can do it like in 10 minutes when these guys are taking like an hour or 2 hours to do the job. And I hated that feeling. Then I realized that if I don't do that and I don't focus my energy on the most important things, which is like hiring the next person, or finding more resources for the business, building software to manage the business or picking up more clients, the business is going to go into crap. I knew it was going to go to crap, and I just let it go to crap sometimes. Like clients were not happy with our services. And it's because we didn't have enough people, and I wasn't training, and I wasn't hiring. The only thing I was doing is trying to do everything. Then I realized, like over time, that I needed to hire, I needed to outsource and push the work over. So I did it, and I'm telling you, the first 6 months to a year, I hated it. But over time, it got better. And then that's how I've learned that, you know, I need to delegate the work. I need to get the offshore team. I need to train my managers to be managers. And I need to sometimes let go, even though the job and the service is going to be crap for a little bit. I need the clients to be unhappy sometimes to realize that the team can learn from it. Yeah. So that's how I grew up.
Thank you. Yeah. So we've got plenty of time for questions. Did anyone have specific questions around? Yep.
Your mentor, how did you find them? Who are they?
Yeah.
I'm assuming Nick's
Well, it depends on which part, right? I think it depends on like what you're looking for. So obviously, there's always someone that you admire or you want to learn from, and it depends on what industry as well. It doesn't have to be in accounting. So when I first started and running my business, I actually learned from gyms. I ran my business like a gym, like where it's like a SaaS model where you're charging them on a monthly basis, and it's all about like monthly churn, like how many clients you're losing, as opposed to how many clients you're picking up, and how do you market, how do you bring in more leads. So I learned that from actual gyms. So I spoke to PT people to learn that. Sales, I learned off property people, buyer's agents. We all know buyer's agents are the sales of all, like they're the god of sales, I think, because they're getting people to pay you $15,000 to buy a house, and property prices are going up so much everywhere. So it's not that hard. I think everyone's becoming a buyer's agent. So, but there was one buyer's agent that I was just like, how the hell does this guy get all the deals, and why is he so good at networking? So I learned mentoring and networking from him. And when it came to running my own business, I have to admit, it was so different that I couldn't find it from an accounting firm. I had to go elsewhere. So I learned that off tech startups, because tech startups built their departments into new onboarding, sales and marketing, and then operations. And so I learned how they ran their businesses. And I learned, I just reached out to my clients, and they told me where the industry experts are, and I just tried to, get their time and also trade my services and expertise for that. Then over time, I realized that I don't even know how to manage this own firm because it's growing so fast. So then that's when I reached out to people who had done it before. And I think the first mentor I reached out to was Andrew Van Der Beek, the big guy. Yeah, he looks like a Viking. And he wears a top hat all the time. Yeah, so I reached out to him, and I told him, hey, man, I want to pay you for your time. So tell me how much you want to charge me. Whatever it is, I'll pay it. And because you've made a lot of mistakes, and I want to learn from all your mistakes, so I don't make them. So I paid him for a whole year. And he sent me invoices through his trust. Just wanted to say, it was pretty cool what I was doing. He didn't send it through the business. And I found it very funny when he did that. But yeah, just to go through it, that's how I learned from everywhere. And now I finished with Andrew, and now I'm finding my next mentor, which is probably acquiring businesses and stuff. So I'm going to look for a mentor in there. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Was there anyone else had a specific question? Oh, Nick, sorry.
Sorry. We years ago, before our acquisition, that was terrible, we were with Best Practice Group. We then self-graduated from that. Then we came back to them because we had to get rid of this partner, so he was instrumental in doing that. And we hadn't ever implemented any of the things we were taught. So over the last 2 years, we've just implemented everything that we've been taught. And there is just a formula that you have to follow, which is what we've pretty well talked about: org chart, pricing, all that sort of stuff. Getting the team involved, so lots more communication with the team huddles, staff meetings, the whole kit and caboodle. You just got to go through it and do it. Personally, I also had a mentor in the last, I think I just finished with her. I did 10 weeks. I've been with her before, but 10 weeks just about leadership and making me a better person in general to be around at work. So, and then recently added a sort of fitness trainer because I thought I was doing all right, but no, I wasn't. So, sort of diet and exercise, that sort of stuff.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, so was there any other questions?
Talking about growing the firm, what would be if you had to pinpoint one thing that you go, no, this is the one thing that changed the firm or moved the needle the most for a growing practice, what is it? What's that one thing that you guys would kind of advise to do?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Well, for me, it was gaining confidence around your value and your price. So we actually, we became a Change GPS member the other year, and that really gave us the confidence to go, you know what, this is what our price is. We value what we do, and we know that if you work with me and my team, we can get you to that $500,000, $1 million, or whatever turnover it is. But I know what I'm worth now. So I think having the confidence, but also having the structure and processes around that. So exactly what Davie was saying, having the sales processes and the process around that. So then the team knows, when the client rings up, they know what the pricing is, and they're confident, and they know sort of, the sales pitch around that. We do actually, we do, and because Change GPS does have that, that pretty much gives us the structure and the confidence. So now that we've done that, we know when we price it and we give you that quote, and you go, well, I'm price sensitive. It just means you're not a fit. And you know what? I'm comfortable with that. I've gotten to a point now in my business and career that it's okay that you're not a fit for me. Yeah. But I value what I do now. So it's taken a while for us to do that. And that was such a pivotal point for us. Once we got that confidence, it was a game changer. And we literally, we managed to hit that $1 million turnover because we got that confidence. Yeah. Did anyone of you? Yeah? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I
yeah,
can add
Dave.
to it. I think, well, obviously for me, I wanted to stand out. I think us accountants were not very good with sales, marketing, and I think that was the big changer for me. Being online, being able to speak to the masses, it was a game changer for me. So and I spoke about this before, during COVID, no one could reach their accountants. And do you know why? It's because everyone was calling their accountants, but there's only 40 hours or 8 hours in a day that we wanted to pick up the phone and talk to clients. But every single announcement with the government about JobKeeper, the changes, our phones would constantly ring. And I just messaged everyone back and said, hey, I released the video, watch the video. And that's all I did. I just kept putting videos out there. And so from that, it created really good brand for us. And I have to admit now, if in the next 5 to 10 years, if you're not online and you're not doing any marketing, you're probably going to struggle. And the reason being is because that's how the next generation is going to consume content. They don't read anymore these days. They just watch videos. They just spend 60 seconds watching a video and they think they're experts, unfortunately.
So Davie, in that sense, then, because I'm not that confident when it comes to speaking, even though I'm speaking in front of you amazing people here today, and I guess in terms of someone wanting to start that. So if I wanted to start doing that, what do you do? Like, do you create the content, or do you literally just start and just grab our phones and video ourselves and just having a chat?
Again, get a mentor, get someone to teach you. That's the first thing. And then it gives you the confidence that you can do it. But I have to admit, I just went right into it. and I did these videos back in 2019. You can still find it on my YouTube channel. You can still find it on my YouTube channel. And you would see the difference on how I talk now compared to how I talked previously. And you're never going to be a good accountant if you don't just start, right? Same thing with videos. You're not going to be good in front of camera. And I just want to point out, I hate being on camera. I try to call sickies on my videographers. They're booking the time. And I'm like, I'm not feeling I had a very bad sleep. I don't think I'm ready to act. Yeah, and so I try to cancel on them all the time. But I just do it. I show up and I do it consistently. And then I realize that there are some things that I'm not really good at. So I'll fix it and I'll practice. I went to a speech pathologist because people said that I can't speak. I went to a communication coach, paid $6,000 for a communication coach. Yeah, I've done so many things to improve it. And because I just want to get better and I just want to provide for the business and the team. And so that's why I just did it. But I'm telling you this, I hate it. I reckon when I retire, I'm just going to delete every single thing on camera. Yeah, literally. Yeah. So I didn't mention. I mentioned it. Did I mention here how much I spent? Yeah. I started with $250 per week for a videographer to come and film me. $250. That was about $6,000 to $8,000 a year, and then now I pay $150,000 a year on all the marketing. So they do my emails. They help me script the content. They research the content too. So I give them the ideas and then they research it. I review the content and they shoot the videos with me. They edit it. They do everything. And I spend 4 hours a fortnight on marketing. They do everything else. And I bring in $100,000 of clients per month, new clients, annualized. So we grow about $1 million in fees a year. And again, I don't want to boast. It's insane. It's something that I've never really thought I could do until I just did it. And then now I'm actually telling the world, you guys can do it. Everyone can do it. There was another guy that wanted to buy me out and he wanted to merge with me because he saw the stuff I was doing until he realized how much my numbers were. And he's like, I will be a minority. All of them, all 4 partners will be a minority partner if they bought us out. So I realized that this is something that everyone needs to do. I just didn't realize because I was stuck in my shell just running COVID and building my own content. Now I'm going out there trying to tell you guys that videos is the way to go. You got to do it. Get online.
Thank you so much. We're out of time, but thank you so much, everyone. Hopefully you got something out of today's session.
Brilliant. Nick, Charisse, Davie, thanks very much.
Was it okay?
So folks, we've got a 10-minute break between sessions. You've probably started to find your way around today. If you don't know where you're going next, just ask one of the access folks. We'll try and help you find your way.